Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Sports Roundtable.
Our warmth comes from entertaining all you folks. TV2. Learn with us.
Welcome to TV2's coverage of the Ashland Masters tournament here on TV2. I'm Dan Tierney. I'm joined alongside two-time Ashland Masters champion Jim Vanetta. How you doing today, Jim?
I'm pretty fine. Look like we're set for a good day of competition.
Yes, we have about 3 to 4 great matches here today, and the first one is slim one here, as our first match will take place between Paul Blair Jr. and Rob Sedgwick. Paul Blair Jr. being the 6-time champion.
Yeah, he is a much more tournament presence, especially in this tournament. He has what we call the will to win in this tournament. He's the man. You know, I guess he'd be the first person to knock off today.
Yes, that's a big one. Paul Blair Jr. is 41. He's a letter carrier here in Ashland. He has a wife, Becky, and 3 children, Justin, Jamie, and Jordan. He's been bowling for 30 years. As we said, he's won this tournament 6 times and is just started wanting to grow in and bowl 300 games, and he's had 18 of them over his career.
Yeah, he's had quite a few 300 games at a very early age, too. I think he's had those championships over 3 different decades, too. I'm not sure, but that'd be a question to ask him later on.
Now, his younger opponent is Rob Sedgwick. He's been bowling for 18 years, works for Megahertz, a supplier to the cable TV industry, has bowled 1 300 game here, and has done well getting into the quarterfinal match here.
Oh, yeah, this is Rob's first time in the finals here. It's kind of going to be nice to see how well he does. He stays nice and calm and relaxed, and be able to stay focused.
So the Ashland Masters tournament, Jim, how long has it been going on this week?
37 years.
37 years. And when did it start this week here?
It started last weekend. Qualifying was last Friday night. Was the first round of qualifying. Had another round, 2 rounds of qualifying on Saturday. Each individual bowled 6 games of qualifying.
And what was the cutoff to qualify for the final double elimination bracket?
It was 12:20 something, 12:21 I think it was, something like that.
Yes.
And, we had John Summers, John's 72 or 3 years old, and he made the cut. He made the cut this year, and he was. This is his probably 37th year of bowling, I guess you might say, in the tournament.
Very impressive here. Paul Blair Jr. again had a longer battle here. He had, from the looks of it, a lot of matches here to play to get into the semifinal match.
Yeah, Paul. Who did he lose to? He lost to Tyrone. Did he lose to Tyrone?
I think so.
Yeah, he got knocked into the losers bracket early.
Yes, he lost to Tyrone McKinney.
Yes, he lost to Tyrone
in
McKinney.
the 3rd round of the winners bracket.
Right, and
had to win 3 other matches to get to where we are today.
In this double elimination format, you have a lot more matches to go through in the losers bracket portion of the tournament.
That's just the way it is. The same thing happened to Ron Sedgwick, as he actually lost to the man who is currently sitting first in the winners bracket, Randy Thompson.
Yes, Randy, this is his first time in the TV finals of the Ashland Masters. I don't know how many Ashland Masters he's bowled in the past, but this is his first TV show. He has some tournament experience also, and he's sort of a veteran also.
Yes, and Randy has he's been in there, and he's been doing a great job there. He actually bowled a 300 game yesterday.
Yeah, very exciting. He needed to really bowl that 300 game to win his match in advance.
Yeah, he was
into the winners bracket. He was bowling Paul Brown.
And he had in that match, he was down early in that first match there by several pins, and then that 300 game came.
Oh, yeah. That was against Sean Whitehead, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes, he was down 48 pins, I guess, or over 40 pins in the first game, and had to strike out in the 10th frame to gain those pins back. It was really exciting going down. There was probably 60 people here watching the bowling yesterday evening.
Yes, and very exciting there. Right now you see on your TV Rob Sedgwick taking some practice shots down the lane.
Very long arm swing, nice and smooth on the approach, very even tempo. Really a classic arm swing.
Yeah, and you can see coming up the man with the name on the back of his shirt, Paul Blair Jr., again, the 6-time champion, taking his shots out there as well.
Paul has a very classic style also, takes his time on the approach, has a lot of different rolls that he can apply to the ball to make the pins to make his ball do different things, different angles going into the pocket there.
And again, two very qualified bowlers right now. What do you expect to see in this quarterfinal match play here?
I would say the person that makes their spares, makes their 10 pins. There's going to be a few 10 pins, and the person that can put 3 or 4 strikes together in each one of the first and second game is probably going to come out the winner and stay clean from splits and missed spares, and I think that that person will come out ahead.
It's just a matter of having some clutch play.
Yeah, yes, some clutch play, a couple, 3 or 4 strikes in a row.
And we're about getting ready to get started here on the match play here. So Paul Blair Jr.
He'll bowl 1 on the left lane, and then Rob will come up and bowl 2. And it's a TV style format, I guess you might call.
Yes, switching it. So Paul Blair Jr. on his first throw. Looks good, gets a strike.
Nice light mixing strike. It's a good way to get the 10 pin out.
A very good way to get a start there off. And Rob Sedgwick making his way down to the lanes. Taking his time and get ready for it here.
Pretty good shot. Oh.
And he responds, leaving 3.
Little fast out there. Little fast. He throws pretty hard and pretty straight across the lane there, right where he's aiming.
It's not too difficult of a spare. He just needs to convert it.
Yes, shoot the 2 pin right in the middle there. Right
and he
there.
does.
Very good shot.
Starting the second frame.
A little slower.
And again, he leaves the same 3 pins. Actually, the 2 pin does fall eventually.
Yeah. Pin rolled out of the back there. Makes the spare a lot more difficult. Has to go between these 2. The ball just fits right between them. The 4-5. Has a chance. Good shot, Rob. That's a very good shot.
And he did a good job there. To our folks at home who maybe aren't too familiar with bowling, explain the match play format here.
Okay. Well, as I said, Paul, he led off with 1 shot on the left lane, and then the individuals will come, and now they'll bowl 2 each. Okay. Then they go on to a left-right syndrome or scenario. Sorry, and it's a PBA style format is what they call it. A little slow there. Got up in the head pin area.
Paul leaves 3 himself.
That's the 3-6-10. it's you have to be firm and across the lane with this to keep it from chopping it. Very good shot. Very good shot.
Hit him right down the center.
It really is becoming a spare conversion. It will be for until the guys get loosened up a little bit and smile and get a good break and some other things like that. It'll from experience on a TV show, it's looks pretty good.
And a strike there. And in that area, being able to loosen up, you got to give a small advantage there to Paul.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 'cause he has a lot of airtime, as we call it.
Again, Rob Sedgwick is only 26 years old.
Oh, I heard that. Oh. Pretty good shot.
And he picks up his first strike of the afternoon.
Very nice tempo there. Very nice stroke. I think
they both got strikes on their third frames. The score after two was 40-38.
Yeah, Paul has a slight advantage, a two-pin advantage. Excellent shot there. Excellent shot. Nice and firm.
Two in a row, and it seems that Rob has finally loosened up a little bit.
Yep,
there.
looks like he's loosening up. Paul is too. It looks like just now they'll find their areas on the lane where they can play.
Paul Blair Jr.'s fourth frame. Again, it's
real
good.
Nice, real nice.
Both bowlers getting strikes in the third and fourth frame.
If you watch Paul will have more of a looping shot, and Rob will have more of a straight down the ball track kind of shot, which ball track is right around the second arrow, looking at the black diamonds on the lane. Or arrows, as we might call them. Good shot.
And three in a row.
Ball's really coming in nice to the head pin. And he's getting nice light mixing action. Look out.
And Rob Sedgwick matches him.
Have it a match now. This is where the strikes really start adding up. Each one of these strikes is worth 30 pins, really, because a strike is worth 2 balls. It's worth that ball plus 2 more.
The next 2 balls after it there, and when you keep compiling the strikes, you keep compiling the 10 points on top of each other.
Exactly.
Rob Sedgwick, this is his first time making it past the first weekend of match play.
And he looks pretty good.
And he just leaves the 10.
Little inside of his target there. That's the flat 10, as we call it. The 6 pin laid in the channel. The pin in the channel there, just it laid there.
Breaks his string of 3 straight strikes.
Both these gentlemen are excellent spare shooters. Good shot.
Nails it.
This is where Paul can really stretch out the lead here. Because of that 10 pin, Paul can add to his lead by 2 hits rather than just 1. He's 2 pins ahead, was 2 pins ahead prior to that. If he strikes here, it puts him 2 full frames ahead, basically, as we call it. Very good reaction.
4 straight for Paul Blair Jr. in his last match. He's
going at a 280 pace, sorry.
Yeah, last match, 451 to 350 over Sean Whitehead. Rather dominating effort.
Yeah, and it was getting later in the afternoon, too. The lanes get more difficult as more games are bowled, as you'll see it throughout the day on the TV pair. Looks pretty good.
And he too leaves the 10.
Yeah, pretty light in the pocket, but still got good ball reaction out there. Those lighter pocket hits, you risk of leaving a lot of 10 pins there.
Now, unfortunately for these two competitors here, if they want to make it to the championship here, they will be basically playing for the rest of the afternoon.
Oh yes. This is a longer. I've won from this spot my last time in 1996, and it's a very long afternoon. It could be upwards to 10 games, I guess.
Now, if or to win that championship, they will have to play a 4:15 match here, and of course that means basically they'll be bowling for 3 straight hours.
Oh yes, indeed. And that particular person has also an advantage though, because he's been on the lanes rather than having the new bowler come in, and you can gather a sense of where to play, you know.
Exactly. However, the downside to that, of course, is the fatigue of being out there, especially under the TV lights and everything.
Match is all evened up. They're both going at a 250 pace right now. 250 something, depends on pin count there. Very, very solid games.
The score through 6 was 149 to 137, but this strike and a 9 spare by Sedgwick on the most recent frames. And again, lane number 19 here, the past 3 balls thrown have all been just left that 10 pin there.
I think some of the lane conditioner in the front end of the lane is starting to go down to the break point there, and it's going to make the ball go later and later and later, and the first person to make that right move to kick that 10 pin out is going to have an advantage here.
They just have to make the adjustment.
Good shot. Excellent. These guys are both excellent spare shooters. Both of them are very firm with their spare shots.
Now Paul Blair Jr.
If he strikes here, I'll have a 22-pin lead. Pretty slow. Come up for the 610. Pretty dangerous place for your ball to hit there. You could leave pins on the other side for a big split and not have a chance at the spare. Excellent spare.
Did a good job, just nailed it right in the middle of the both of them.
10-pin match right now. We could come close to being tied right at the end of the first game, real close.
Yes.
Setting up to be that. Pretty good roll. Oh, wrapper.
And again, that 10-pin keeps
Ringing
sticking.
10, yes. That was, the ball's actually coming in behind the angle, and the pin just wraps around it. If they saw it from the camera angle, it just went right around the top of it there. Pretty good shot, though. Not very far off.
Barely there. He was riding the edge of the gutter.
Yeah.
And, it stuck, though. Enough zip on it to
riding
keep it going.
the rail there. Yeah. That extra zip, that the firm and the straightness of the spare, he kept his angle on line, even though he might have been off a little bit. Throwing straight across the lane like that can really help out at your spares.
Now, a common opponent that these two men have had in the tournament was Tyron McKinney. In the last round, Rob Sedgwick beat him, but that was the man who also beat Paul Blair Jr. in the first winner's bracket.
Powerful. Powerful ball there.
And a good strike there.
This is pretty important here. This here will put Rob ahead, actually, this next strike.
If he can get a strike. The last several balls thrown in this lane, however, they cannot get the 10-pin down.
Exactly.
Now, what kind of adjustment would Rob need to make with this throwing style to get that 10-pin down? We'll see how he does.
Yeah. A little bit moved to the right there. Yep,
and he gets it.
He moved about a board to the right, it looked like, on the approach. Maybe a little bit decelerated in the ball speed area. Threw it a little slower, maybe. Very excellent. That was a wonderful shot there.
And now that we're on the 10th frame there, he gets to shoot some extra balls.
Yeah, he's on his bonus shots here. This one still counts for additional 30.
Right now he has a 9-pin lead.
Good break there. He tugged it and thought he didn't do a very good shot, but that's a typical shot here on this condition right here, is that to get away with it, you might get it in a little bit, and it's not such a bad shot. The guys think it is, but it's not such a bad shot. It's just playing the area that they have.
Rob's final ball of the first game.
Pretty good shot, too.
And he finishes with
excellent game.
3 straight strikes.
237.
237.
Paul needs to strike out to Paul has a possible 236 game here.
Yes. So basically Rob will win the first game, but the second game, of course,
yeah, there's
will decide
a game match. Yes. Oh,
and
very
a difficult split.
Very slow. 4, 6, 7. Your odds of making this are 1 in 1,000, I do believe. His shot was pretty slow that time. Threw it hard to get it a bounce. Nope.
And he only gets the 7. Leaves 2.
It's 211 to 237. 26 pins.
26 pins in that first match there.
That's 2 frames, basically, if you were to strike on both balls.
So, getting ready for the second game here.
Now Rob will lead off on the left lane there. They switch. First game, Paul led off on the left lane. Second game, Rob will lead off on the left lane here.
And he finished strong on the left lane. 3 straight strikes on it after both him and Paul were having problems getting that 10-pin down.
Luke got it in again. Oh boy, that was a good one. It's a very, very good ball speed. A lot of ball speed on the ball. A lot of fingers in a lot of fingers we call rotations on the ball. That pretty good shot.
Paul Jr.'s first frame of the second game.
A little bit more speed there.
And he just leaves 1.
Behind the head pin for a 2-pin there. Paul needs to find a little rhythm and get some room out there. Excellent spare shooter.
So he opens off with a spare there. And he needs to bowl a significantly better game than he did last game or to advance here.
Yes, he needs to throw some strikes together here. It's a pretty good shot. Still light behind the head pin. Now he's hitting the down lane oil now. And I think maybe if he could creep to the right a little bit and throw it a little firmer, he'd be all right. He and Rob have contrasting styles. You know, one's a little straighter and one has a little more curve. And right now, it looks like it favored a little straighter type player, a little straighter type release or game or whatever you might say there.
Yeah, that's showing as a considerable lead is almost being built up here if Rob can keep hitting these strikes.
Yes.
Again, we'll be talking about our sponsors all day here at Luray Lanes here. A couple of them right now: the Drain Wizard, Mark, Montgomery Motors, Porter's Power Equipment, Select Advertising, and Central Hobbies all have been sponsors of the Ashland Masters Tournament this year. And
10-pin again, a little flatter. His release looked a little flat, and it might have been a little hard there. Without those sponsors you were talking about, this tournament isn't really possible. For the last, it's been a lot of years that guys like Paul go out and sell sponsors for our tournament, and it makes it a wonderful event for the bowlers in town, the scratch bowlers in town, and even some of the not scratch bowlers can bowl the event, and they do often make it. But without the sponsors, it makes the whole tournament for everybody.
Absolutely. And Rob Sedgwick there picking up the spare.
Excellent spare shooter. This is the carry of that 10-pin. Most of the time is will propel you to win more matches.
He's been doing good today, making the adjustments he's needed to take some leads.
A little bit early. Oh, right through the beak. 6-pin. Almost had the 4-6 split there. The ball started to come up a little early into the lane in the first 20 feet there. It started to hook up a little bit earlier. That's a good sign that conditioner is also changing. That stuff will migrate from the front part of the lane in the ball set down area to the back end of the lane at the ball break point area.
And easily picks up that spare.
The ball break point area is usually about that scanner, right down there where the cameraman is, about the 48-foot mark or whatever, sort of 48, 45, something in there, 40-something. Now Paul needs a good opportunity. He needs to take an opportunity here. Rob's not stringing him, so
if you get some strikes here, this will be able to let him catch up there. But again, another difficult split.
The oil's still moving. It's going to be the person that makes the move to the right, probably, to make more of an advantage. And Rob is already over there to the right. Good, looks good. Slid by. That was the 2-4. It was 2-4-10.
And again, he only hits the
4-pin there. Yes, that's he tried to slide the 2-pin across the lane there into the 10-pin.
Dan Tierney alongside Jim Vanetta here. We're at the Ashland Masters Tournament here. The first game was won by Rob Sedgwick by a score of 237 to 211. Paul Blair trying to catch up. Some strikes are necessary in order for him to do it here. Looking down.
His angle's late. The ball's coming in behind the pins.
And again, that 2-pin there. The first match, it was the 10-pin that was sticking. And this time it's been the 2-pin.
Yes, it's an angle. It's an angle thing when your ball goes in the pocket. Being the 1-3 pocket for a right-handed person, the 1-2 pocket for a left-handed person. All those same scenarios happen for a left-handed person, except for the opposite side of the lane. It could be, you could be leaving the 3-pin or the 7-pin, if you were left-handed.
Exactly.
This is, it's coming down to a situation now where Rob can really stretch out his lead here. The shot's pretty good.
And he gets another strike.
Pretty good break at tripping the 4-pin there. The balls are starting now. Rob is probably a full 5 boards to the right. Then Paul, and the ball's starting to check up early from that position. And Paul is a little bit inside a little bit to his left of that, what we call inside in the game of bowling, and he's trying to use some of the conditioner to propel his ball to the break point.
He's been doing a good job of it. Second strike of this game.
Bad bounce there. Oh, lucky break.
His third right there. Unfortunately for Paul Blair Jr., he hasn't had any strikes this game. And Rob smiling at his luck.
Yeah, he bounced that one off the approach, that long arm swing. He got down, probably dropped his shoulder a little bit. Paul's a gamer, though. He's not going to let him win. Bat. Oh, boy.
And all day he's been dealing with these splits.
Yes, it's his angle is the ball's really breaking sharply on the back end, and it ends up either light. He probably made a move to the right there, and his ball checked up early and went into the pins. It's the same amount of break, but his feet were farther to the right, and it resulted in going into the middle of the pins, which usually results in a 4-6 split, and that's about another 1 in 10,000 chance to pick that up.
Score after 5 frames in the second game is 89-71.
Yes, it's quite possibly it could be 119-71 if Rob just gets one more strike. Now that kind of helps a little bit there. If Rob keeps stringing the strikes here, it adds 30 every time. So it, like I said, it could get a lengthy lead quickly.
Yes, it can. But Paul Blair Jr. thus got his first strike at the second game.
Looks like he might have found something there.
Yeah. He did very well in the early part of the first game, but then has had troubles in the second half and then the first half of this game.
Pretty firm shot there.
And
and a pin messenger misses it out of the back there.
The 10 pin again.
All Rob has to do is just basically fill the frames up. He's right now at a point now where Paul has to do nothing but strike, and Rob just has to fill them up. Excellent spare shot. Rob doesn't show very much emotion. Even on a league night, I've watched him throw a 300 game, and he's just not, smiled when it was completely over with. He doesn't show very much emotion.
True competitor. And leaves the 2 pin.
Looked like maybe kind of a safety shot, not to get up high into the beak there again. Maybe he was a little tentative off his bounce, but he's fill the frames up again, shoot the spares. The spares are important because they're usually in between strikes, and you need those extra pins in between the strikes. Nice and firm.
Easy job of getting that done. And now moving into the 7th frame.
Paul can pick up a little bit of ground here.
This is clutch time here.
Yeah.
He needs almost strikes all the way through.
Yes, sir, he does. That's a little bit straighter. Same result. The oil's moved into that position to where his ball, at the break point we call it, right about the cameraman's area.
210 is what's left.
Yes. 1 in 20. He could pick this up. Now he's hurrying. Good shot. Good shot.
Good job. It's the first time he's picked up the split all day. He's had a lot of difficult ones there. Yes,
that 1 in 20 is the shot ratio on that, and he's an excellent spare shooter. He's not going to miss too many of the easier ones.
And a strike right there.
Yes, a lot better. The ball speed was a lot better there. Nice roll on the ball there. He's having a difficulty with what we develop as a hang spot on lane 20. Paul is having difficulty.
couple more strikes could seal this for Rob. Gets one there.
That's pretty close to the ball game there. Rob is shooting at, let's see here, flash the scorekeeper back on. Rob shooting at 230 pace, and Paul is shooting at a 201 pace if they both strike out from this point.
In order for Paul to win, he'd approximately have to win this game by about 28 pins or so.
Yes, and you add that deficit to the lead already, and you're approximately 6 frames ahead. That's a ball game there. Very good shot. And I would put, well, Paul needs some strikes here, but he's shut out, I do believe. My math is correct. It's possible 201, and he's down by 26. Yeah, he's shut out. So Rob could open for a 200 game here.
Unfortunately, now's the time and when the strikes are coming there.
Yes, that usually happens. Maybe a little, relax, or he just now maybe he moved too far and had to split in the middle, and the lights, anything could happen out there in a 2-game match. And see there, that was a slide by. Got into conditioner in the middle of the lane. Right in there is where a lot of your hits are dictated where your angle is coming off that conditioner.
2, 4, 6, and 10.
The washout. I'd be surprised if he picks it up.
Gets the left side of it.
He had 163. Not a very good game, but his break point changed a lot throughout the lane there. He had a couple early into the head pin, and Rob's still just kind of chugging along here. His worst hit has been the 6-pin there. They're hurrying up here to get done with this. Ooh, almost a pocket 710. But Messenger took out the 10. That's the head pin coming off the sidewall there.
A little bit of luck there.
Yeah, or you leave that dreaded 710. That thing is 1 in 100,000 or 200,000 chances to pick that thing up,
And he picks up the spare.
Yes, that was a 7-pin, and for the left-handed spares throughout the day from this point on, you watch the ball. A lot of times it'll hit that conditioner in the middle of the lane. It'll stay to the right, and it'll slide by.
And he is going to.
He has a possible 216. If he gets the strikes here, it's 216. 450. He's in the 450 area. Yes, he's in the 453 area for his 2-game total. Versus Paul, 374.
So the final in this one, as they close it out, Rob Sedgwick 453 to 374 there.
Excellent match there.
And that is the highest, well, not the second highest point total for Rob. He scored a 522 over Larry DeVore 3 rounds ago. But the important thing is that Rob Sedgwick has advanced in his quarterfinal match over the 6-time champion Paul Blair Jr., eliminating him there. And it was just a matter that Rob Sedgwick was making some clutch shots when Paul Blair couldn't.
Yes, when the mistakes were made, Rob would leave 1 pin versus Paul left them multiple pins in different areas, splits, which are hard to convert, and they make your scores less if you have an open frame, and the splits are awful hard to convert. And he had the crucial shot was in the 10th frame of the first game when he opened in the 10th frame, and that cost him a lot of at least 20 pins, and it kind of set up a scenario for him in the second game there where he knew he had to move on the lane someplace, and he went into the inside part of the lane and his ball delayed.
Now we take a look at Paul Brown for the semifinal match, taking some practice shots there. Paul Brown, 23-year-old, works for General Home Corp. Worked there for about 5 years. He's had 3 sanctioned 300 games and 2 sanctioned 800 series. 1 in 812 and second, which was an 800. He bowled his first 300 game about 4 years ago in '96 there, and that same year he had his 812. He's won the handicap match play tournament 2 times. He's won a 12-game marathon at Park Lanes in 1999 and placed third in the Ashland City Tournament in 1998.
Paul's one of the group of men in town, young and upcoming bowlers in town. Rob Sedgwick's also one of those people that have young men that have been around the Masters tournament for the last, let's say 10 years. They might have been a youngster coming out watching first, and then, because I can remember seeing these guys on my tapes at home, and Paul Blair could say the same about myself, is looking at his old tapes. You look into the camera view and you can see these kids that were once watching as junior bowlers bowl in the tournament now. It's a pretty cool thing, really, when you get a little bit older, I guess.
Another important thing is that along with his friend Paul Blair Jr. this February, they started the Youth Masters tournament.
Yeah, that's also that was an excellent thing for the young kids in town here. As far as the bowling is concerned, it's not a thing. Bowling is not a well-publicized sport, and it's kind of popular around the area because of, I guess, bad winter times, and things like that. And the Youth Masters, that's a really nice thing for the youth, and I appreciate TV2's coverage of the both of those events. It gives you guys some practice and gives us something to promote our sport with.
And bowling, nationally, it may have declined over the past few years,
Sure.
but in many areas, it is picking back up some steam.
Sure. Yeah. The senior bowler area has gone from probably a 20 or 30% participation to probably a 60% participation. In Florida and South Carolina and Texas, bowling has grown rapidly because the seniors don't want to be outside in the heat, so they're inside in the air conditioning bowling.
And as you said, wintertime.
Oh yeah, wintertime up north, that's a big thing. Especially the farther east you go, the more everybody bowls.
And many areas, such as the PBA, is increasing their efforts too. Of course, a big tournament every year in Akron.
Yeah. Well, the Firestone has moved to Illinois now, I do believe. And I'm not sure who the sponsor is. The PBA's had some troubles in the past years with sponsorships and things like that. And I really understand what the guys out there have to do for their living. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. But this gives us, on our local level, it gives us a taste of that sort of environment, that action. You need a strike here for, a couple $100, and the paychecks in this tournament are very nice for these guys. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if we have a prize breakdown here or not.
I don't think we got one in front of us.
But we will get one right quick here. A prize breakdown.
So
yeah, Corby will come up here, one of the tournament directors here. He'll give us one.
So Rob Sedgwick will start off.
Not to get you in any kind of trouble here.
Again in the left lane.
Yeah. Pretty good shot.
But leaves two.
Pretty wide. It was pretty wide there for him.
Again going.
That's the 2-5. Choppable spare. This could be where this is in an area of the lane where he's shooting across the lane conditioner in the middle. The ball does strange things on the lane conditioner. Be interesting to see.
The 2-5
pretty good
combo, he hits it.
Perfect. That was pretty perfect there.
Again, going over some more sponsors of the tournament: Family Pools and Saws, Fryman Service Center, Dominique's Pizza, BW's Threes, and Barefoot Floor Coverings. As we see Paul Brown getting ready for his first shots here in the semifinal match.
There's quite a few of those sponsors that have been sponsors for years in this tournament. And I'm trying to remember exactly which one of them. There's quite a few of them. Paul's more of a power player. Rob's more of the classic player, although Rob generates a lot of power from his arm swing. His arm swing is a very powerful arm swing. Paul is a little bit different style. He'll use his forearm muscle there and put some mustard on the ball, as we call it. Apply some muscle to it.
He had some very strong shots here in the warm-ups there, as we saw, impressing many people in the crowd and in our TV2 crew.
He can throw some pins. Oh!
And again, the bounce takes away the 10-pin.
Yeah, the old messenger saved him there.
Removing a very tough split.
This spare here is tough for these guys. Lane conditioner laying right there.
Generally, they have to go across the lane to get it.
Yes, and they go right across that spot. He's going to go around the spot. He did.
And he gets that spare. Looks easy, but that was a more difficult.
Yes, his ball's trying to rotate through that lane conditioner or around that lane conditioner. Speed is very critical on that type of shot. Rob's pretty relaxed.
Gets a strike. So through one frame, they're tied at 20 apiece.
Okay, here's that prize breakdown. Paul Blair, the tournament director, just brought me that.
So fourth place, which Paul Blair just finished in $200. The loser of this match will receive $250, and then second place worth $300, and then first place worth $500 there. But 32 people in this tournament there.
Excellent paying tournament for a local tournament without those sponsors. It makes it very key. Pretty slow. 4-pin. Look out.
Yeah, he left it.
Paul worked pretty hard. Paul Blair worked pretty hard on this tournament. Him and Corby and Paul Brown very hard on this tournament to go out and get those sponsors and get the bowlers that we've been having trouble getting a field of bowlers the last couple years. Pretty good shot.
And he gets the 4 easily.
That's the 4-pin there. It's gonna be if his angle's very good, he should carry some pins. Very, very powerful strike.
Very powerful, and through 2 frames, it's tied at 40.
Only 12 bowlers in this tournament that bowled. There was, let's see, there's 32 bowlers that made 46 bowlers bowled, or 46 bowlers cashed, 12 bowlers and make it 60 bowlers, or 58 bowlers, sorry.
And that's not a bad tournament at all.
Actually, that's pretty good odds. If you know, getting your money back or whatever, the sponsors make it possible. Pretty good shot.
And he leaves a cluster.
Yeah, a lot of speed. Got it into the oil around the 3rd arrow. Rob is playing right around the 2nd arrow, counting from the right and moving left. Rob is playing around the 2nd arrow, somewhere in around the 12th board or something like that, and
leaves the 2, 4, 5, and 8.
The bucket, the dreaded bucket. Very difficult. Covered up nicely. Very good shot. Very good shot. Throwing that big hook at those spares, though, decreases your, it makes the difficulty rises, and rather than versus throwing in a straight line right at the cluster. Pretty much a strike spare scenario. Both of them are running around a 200 pace right now. Look out. Look out. Almost the 4-9 split. Something hit the 4-pin from the back and knocked it down. Good break.
Leaves the 9.
The bowling balls that they use now in today's bowling environment are the resin urethane pro, and they're much more. They hit a lot harder. Their energy in the ball, the forward motion of the ball, will stay with the ball a lot longer than, let's say, your average lane ball. Okay, and that type of hit and that 9-pin hit, the ball is slicing through the middle of the pins, and you leave those solid pins. The impact is so great.
Rob starting the 5th frame here.
Pretty good shot. Real good shot. Both of them are running right around that strike spare scenario. So every time you do that, the strikes don't add up. It adds the next 2 shots, which are 10 more pins rather than 20 more on 2 strikes.
Through 5 frames, Rob has alternated through 4 frames Paul's alternate as well. Strike, spare, strike, spare. He's due for a strike if that pattern continues.
This is his good lane. Yep, ball's coming in nicely. He didn't, that on the right lane, lane 20, he didn't swing the ball out as far as he did on lane 19, the last shot.
All the shots on lane 20 have been strikes.
Yes, and very firm, very firm in the ball, and just to the inside of the ball track, around the second arrow, 10th board.
This is the lane he's had a little bit more difficulty. In second frame, he had a 9 spare, and then the second one, he had that bucket with the 6.
Pretty good shot. He didn't let that one get out very far. And he gets excited.
And he does. He should be. That is the lane he's been having difficulty with.
Usually our hometown crowd, we get behind our excited bowlers, you know, and everybody gets excited, especially during the match play portion of the tournament where more individuals are still in it. On TV, I think people are afraid to get excited, but I like to see a little excitement myself.
Well, through 4 frames, he has a 1-pin lead, and he gets a strike there. That'll be important, catching up in these later frames here.
1 pin.
Close match thus far.
Much like our second match. Paul's shot will be more. He might. The oil might be a factor in his game more than in Rob's game because of the differences of their game.
So Rob would have the smaller margin of error to make.
Yeah. Rob would rely on accuracy a lot more, and he tugged that one inside, and he leaves the 6-7. This is a makeable split. He kind of tugged that one inside, got it offline right off his hand. Again, I think he might have double bounced that one onto the floor there. Usually results he might.
Doesn't get it.
That's a 1 in 100 shot there, I do believe. Yeah, that and the 4-7-10 and things like 6-7-10.
Unfortunately for Rob, he leaves the first pin of this first game.
First opening. That's crucial too, especially this is a big ball for Paul Brown. This gives him a little bit of cushion, as we might say. A breathing room. Pretty good.
He clapped his hands in excitement.
Yeah.
Third straight.
The hand slap, as we call it. A lot of guys like to do that.
Through 7 frames, the score is 140-135, but that does not reflect the bonus balls he's going to
Exactly. He's stretching out the lead pretty far with each one of these shots there.
And another strike.
That's break. That was a real good break. A pretty light hit. That was a lot of light mixing action. That's those bowling balls. And his ball rotates at a high rate of speed too. There's a lot of rotations on the ball.
So with the string that Paul's been having, it's important for Rob to get some strikes starting here.
Set that down early too, but that was a nice shot there.
And he
set it right down nice on the lane there.
Responds very nicely with a strong strike.
He's
19's been the lane that all day the people have been seeming to have the most problem with.
Yeah, 19, the head area, the front 16 feet of the lane is the head area. It's getting a little drier in the ball set down zone where everybody likes to play, let's say around the second arrow. Pretty good shot. A lot of ball speed there. A lot of ball speed. A lot of nice and firm there too.
So with 2 strikes, he does what he has to do. There you see Paul Blair Jr.
Larry Stein is the TG sports director there, or sports editor. There's Paul's sister Terry. Let's see here. Well, there's a lot
of people in the crowd today.
Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of the bowlers that bowled earlier in the week or last weekend in the crowd, and we need that for this tournament. No, he wrapped it around there. Got behind it.
Left at 10.
Yes, the ringing 10. Dreaded ringing 10. That is a game killer right there. You could have a real good game going and think you throw the ball real nicely, and you do. It's not that much worse than, it's not, that far off from being a perfect strike. Maybe a board, an inch. Good
he
spare.
Does get it, though.
Good spare. His spare game has dramatically increased in the last couple years of Paul's. Paul used to have a little trouble shooting the spares. I know him. I grew up around the area. He's come along nicely with his spares. And those are important because those enable him to string the strikes. He does string the strikes. Rob's still there, though.
Now this will be the 10th and final frame in this first game.
He's going at 230 pace.
He does get that strike, so it means it's bonus ball time.
If he strikes out, he can get 239. And right now, Rob's going at a 225 pace. It's 14 pins separating the bowlers. A hit and a half, basically. 1 frame and a half. He really rips through the ball sometimes. That was a good shot there. That was, I think, the room he's looking for there. Rob's found his shot too. I think we're setting up for a decent game next game here. 239 is a good score.
It was close until Rob left just that 1 pin there. A difficult split.
Yeah, that was Rob's first basically big mistake in 3 games. Will be 3 games next frame. Another pretty good shot. Pretty slow though too. That's a bad pin count. That's a bad pin count there. 6. I mean, it's a good score, 235, but that's 4 less pins that he could have had. Those pin count add up, especially if that's on strikes.
No, fortunately that was the
last ball. Right. That was on the fill ball, as we call it. But it now produces it's a 10-pin game. It's a 1-hit game versus a 1.5 hit game. Those pins right now they can come down to being important at the end of the game. Rob going through the beak with a 3-6-10.
So Paul finishes with a 235.
Turned that one a little early there. Excellent game by Paul. Nice and solid. He converted that bucket spare there earlier in the match, and that was pretty important. This is also a tough spare, choppable spare. That looks pretty good. He's pretty solid. Nice footwork he has.
And one final bonus ball then for Rob.
Is it 2-0 game? Yes, he's potential 2-0-2. Well, the crowd's growing as it usually does by the end of the day here. Looking behind me, he's trying to find something here. He's not really comfortable with what he's got. It looks kind of tentative right now.
But 202 is the final. 305 to 235 to 202.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately,
33 pins.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Rob's going to have a pretty mistake-free game here.
Yes, indeed. He'll need to make an adjustment to where he can result in getting those 3-baggers and 3 strikes in a row or 4 strikes in a row. But if Paul keeps striking, Paul's getting a good tempo going, and you do the same thing at the same time, and you get a routine, and you just get a rhythm going, and it really makes it nice.
So Paul will start the second game here. Again, a 33-pin lead.
Yeah, he's got a rhythm going. I can tell already.
That's his 5th straight strike of the match. Opens up a strong first strike here in the second game.
He's starting to feel it out a little bit. Rob will find something though. He's a good player. There's the TG cameraman off to our right. Pretty good shot. Oh, barely gets the 8-10 out.
But luckily for him.
That was almost the pocket split there. That was almost the 8-10 split there.
And it's just been, it's important that he strings these strikes here.
Yeah, he needs to not only match Paul,
but he
strike for strike.
He has to gain 33 pins.
Yes, so that means at least one strike on a three-bagger, or continue to match strike.
Fortunately for Paul Brown, his only split was in that final filler ball there.
Oh, got some pin action there. Little domino pins there, falling into each other. The 5-pin there almost was the bucket, and some pins fell out of that.
Would have been a 2-4-5. Now he just has that too.
This makes the spare a lot easier. Also, that ball was probably a little bit outside of where Rob wants to play, sliding by the head pin down there in the last 10 feet of the lane. Conditioner, the more we bowl, the lights are on the lanes, the air gets to moving around the building, the oil migrates. It's a statically charged situation too, where part of the lane has a static charge and the oil has the opposite, and it gets going around and your shots change. It's part of the game.
And the players that make those adjustments are usually the ones who end up winning the match play.
Exactly.
Rob was able to do it last game. We'll see if he can't do it again.
Pretty good shot.
But that's 6 straight strikes for Paul Brown.
Pumped up too.
He's leaving him no room for Rob, no room for error.
No, that put him another shot ahead, depending on this ball, but that put him another shot ahead.
Third frame shot.
He torqued that one up a little. Yeah, I was watching on the monitor, watching his shoulder, and they were out of level a little bit. Dropped his shoulder into it. It'll check up a little early. This is another one of those left-hand spares for the right-handed guy, and he's got to go either around the oil or across the oil.
First game, he did a good job going around the oil.
That's probably what he's been doing it all the whole tournament. The ball curves a lot in the back end, and it's pretty easy to judge that curve in the back end of the lane. He can at least even up this game here. Rob can with a strike. That's on line. Pretty good shot.
Nails it.
Almost a solid 8 there. That was a lot straighter inside the ball track, around the 12th or 13th board, and that didn't go out very far, maybe out to the 10th board. So his range of curve is probably maybe like 3 or 4 boards, and then maybe 6 in front of the pins down there to get to the 17th board, which is the optimum strike board.
Well, in this game, after 2 frames, a 9-pin lead by Paul. But Rob can keep stringing these strikes. He'll gain some ground. But a difficult split.
Fast and wide there. Fast and wide. He didn't want to get it wide. See, he got his ball speed up to keep it straighter on line, and he got it wide. This is a 1 in 20 kind of shot here. The 210. It's results from the ball sliding in the back end of the lane. A little slow there. Curved in front of the 2-pin. Those 2 pins there cost him another 2 pins, and it cost him a total of 4 pins there by missing just one. 1 pin results in 2 because you have a strike add-in before the frame, so that counts as one of your bonus balls for the strike that you got the frame previous. And Paul's pretty much, if he doesn't drop his shoulder, his ball's rolling pretty good. Pretty good.
Leaves the 10.
Flat 10. Almost had the 7-10 over there. The pins were fighting to get down in the 7-pin area. Relax and shoot his spares until the oil's going to move for him too. He's 5 boards more inside of. He's around the area where Paul Blair was playing, or to even inside farther than that, maybe 8 or 9 boards. His style used to be called a cranker, or he's a typical power player in this generation, the resin ball generation.
And he has, the only pins he has left was in that final filler ball in that first frame there. He's cleaned up on everything else, which unfortunately may be the end of Rob here very soon there.
Yeah. The frames are disappearing quickly. Got it in there a little bit, but it's holding off that conditioner. You'll see the players today, I think, when they get the ball wide, versus Randy Thompson. Now he rolls the ball a little bit different than these guys are. The
man they will be facing in the final.
It's important for Rob to make this is kind of getting into the last area where you'll still be able to make a move towards winning the match here. Ring in 10 pin. It's a wrap and 10 pin.
Now, if Paul does advance to the final there, it was Randy who did beat Paul in that final game in that winner's bracket.
Yes. They were kind of going at it there for a while. They were really starting to string the strikes yesterday. I think before one of them had a split, a crucial split there, and then in one of the games in the 10th frame. Excellent spare shot there.
That match was won by Randy Thompson by a score of 462 to 448.
Good shot.
Nice strike there.
That one didn't go out like the last frame there when he left at 210. That one was inside a good 6 boards on the break point area of the lane, down by the scanner there, down 48-foot mark there. So a double here really puts it into a lot different perspective, and the game's even, but the match is pretty much getting out of control there for Rob. Got it out. Yeah, pocket 710.
That's going to be difficult. And this will probably be the first ball left by Paul all day.
Yeah, this is one of the 1 in 100,000 chances that this thing, it's a great deal. This is the hardest split in bowling, and your object is to bounce one of those pins out of the back, and he's going for the sure one. He's just going for one because it means 2 pins right there. Strike adding. Paul still can shoot 236, I do believe.
But this is an opportunity if Rob can take advantage of it.
Rob can double, he can gain in some ground there. There's probably 50 people here in the crowd. That's pretty nice. The 4-pin, the ball went early. The ball made its break early. Started breaking at around the 30-foot line there. He's kind of losing his composure a little bit there, pressing a little bit. He's an excited, kind of power player. He's going to push, and Rob just sits, kind of a sit back, just kind of lets the game play itself out a little bit. There's the 2 contrasting styles there.
So an important spare there for Paul Brown, as each time he spares and strikes, puts it further and further out of reach for Rob Sedgwick to catch up.
Yes, indeed. This this can catch him up an additional 10 pins in the match if he could strike here. It's inside, 4-pin. Ball's checking up early there for both players now in the ball track area. right now it's a war of attrition. It's just who can fill up 10 frames, and for Paul, it's just fill up 10 frames and get the match done with. Because neither player is doubling right now, and it's really hard to advance or gain pins if you're not doubling. Paul's not hurting himself by shooting spares, and Rob needs a double.
Through 6 frames, they've shot 7, but there's a couple pins left to go. It's a 10-pin lead by Paul Brown in this second game. But a good strike there.
Yeah, Rob has a possible 216 game. Paul Brown is going at a possible 226 game. So right now, in the additional 30 pins from the first game, Rob's down quite a bit. Almost 50 pins. These next 2 shots, if Paul throws a double in the next 2 shots, the match is out of reach for Rob.
We'll see what happens. Paul's taking his time and getting ready.
Yeah, the lane is there's a pin jam down there.
So, a couple more of the sponsors here helping out in the Ashland Masters tournament: Smetz's Tire, Bowles Insurance, Barnard Insurance, Jerry Rice Insurance, and the Noose Lodge, all helping out and sponsoring in the Ashland Masters tournament this year. And Dan Terry alongside Jim Bonetta here. We're in the middle of the semifinal match here in the second game. As you said, approximately a 50-pin lead for Paul Brown.
Yeah, right now approximately a 50-pin lead with how far he's ahead this match and how the margin of victory the last game.
So this is his 8th frame.
That looks pretty good.
And another strike.
It was the difference between the last time he hit virtually the same spot in the pins versus this frame versus the last frame on lane 20. The angle of the tack was different. Okay, it wasn't a looping style. That was more of a straighter kind of shot. It was about 4-board straighter or 5-board straighter.
And Paul,
this here kind of puts the match out of reach here.
So in a very important frame.
Pretty good shot.
Looks strong, and he's got the strike. And I think Paul realizes.
A little excitement there too.
Paul realizes he's going to get his rematch.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty much out of reach here. Paul would have to throw it in the gutter, his next shot, and Rob would have to strike out to have any sort of shot, which is highly unlikely where they're playing at on the lane.
You're absolutely right, and
Rob's had a real good tournament though.
Yes, this is the first time he has made the final day of the match, probably the final weekend actually altogether.
Yeah. He's a real fine player for right around this area. He's a real, like I said, even temperament, and you like to see that kind of person in the tournament here because it gives us a good tournament base. The same guys come back and bowl every year, and that's what we're looking forward to, is having some of these younger guys make the finals, and I'm glad to see Rob make it this far.
Rob Sedgwick, his 10th frame.
He's on the ball good now, but it's probably a little too late here. He's shooting at 216 pace, and Paul at worst is going to have a 2-0 game. Well, 190-2-0. Yeah, it's pretty. The match is pretty much closed out here.
But Rob has finished strong there.
He looks real nice right now.
This is his 3rd straight strike, with 2 more balls left in his tournament. 2000 Ashland Masters.
Very nice showing. Very nice showing.
That's 4. And probably the final ball of the tournament here for Rob.
Yep, yes indeed it is, pretty much. Good rolling shot there.
And he just leaves one.
He's kind of, redeeming himself there, making sure that he can make those adjustments and trying to make it close, at least make Paul honest. Paul has hit the head pin.
But he gets a
215 game.
215, but that's the higher of the 2 scores. And he got a nice clap from the crowd there.
Oh yeah.
For a nice tournament.
Yeah, very nice tournament for a young and upcoming bowler. Wouldn't be surprised to see him on future telecasts.
4:17 this match.
No.
And then Paul.
A little speedy.
Just leaves the 10.
He got a little fast on that. No problem. He should just get the spare. I think the younger guys get so focused on how many strikes they don't get, you know, the hits that they lose, that they can't continue. It's hard for them to continue the strings that they have, and it's a good spare. This last 2 weeks, he's shot his spares, and he's been winning some matches, you know. Although he lost to Randy, he has, on the most part, he has been really making his spares. 205 game he can have.
Regardless, this will be the lower one, and Rob did win the second game here.
Yeah, just couldn't reel him in fast enough there, and Rob had an open frame there early in that second match there, or the second game.
But the final score in this match is 440 to 417. A great matchup there.
Pretty decent match.
And they're gonna be the rematch there, that final game in that winners bracket. Paul Brown and Randy Thompson. We'll talk a little bit more about this after we take a break here on TV2. You're watching TV2's coverage of the 2000 Ashland Masters Tournament. Here between Randy Thompson and Paul Brown. As we said, going back to that first matchup there, Paul Brown won that first game by 243 to 219, but and then 226 to 222 in that second game. Randy Thompson ended up winning that one there.
Yes, this is a game that Randy had a big string of strikes. Both these guys have been striking. Paul slid by there with a 4-pin there. Light hit.
And Randy opened off with a strike here, and Paul Brown just gets 9 on that first one, leaving that 7.
Looks like they're both a little bit nervous to me. They're bowling. The pace of their bowling has picked up a lot here, you know, and the more nervous you get in that kind of situation, you're going to bowl a lot faster. Take less time to think about your shots. So my advice to both of them is just not to make a TV show longer, but just take your time, think about what you're doing. Little prestige in our little bowling group around town here that this is a prestigious event for us. Bragging rights for the year.
And Paul Brown. Had a good effort last game with 440.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Now that hit right there is usually the hit that's been carrying this week, is the lighter pocket hit. You get up into the pocket there, and you've been leaving a lot of 10 pins this week.
Coming up now is Randy Thompson. He's a resident of Polk. He's had bowled 300 games in his career, one of them being yesterday.
Yes, he had a very nice clutch 300 game yesterday to advance. Randy and Paul bowl similar in, smash 7-pin. Smash 7-pin. A lot of impact there. That's the impact of those resin bowling balls. So there's a lot of impact there. Pins are flying over top of each other. And in theory, they need to fly into each other. And Paul and Randy's styles are the same in that they both play from left to right. They throw their ball from left to right, the left side of the lane to the right side of the lane, and let it recoil back into the pins.
And he did a good job there. Randy finished first in the 1995 Mansfield City Championship in the doubles division. With his partner Sonny Harvey. He has actually played in PBA regional events, one in Louisville there.
Yep.
And he did cash in that event.
Yes, he has some PBA experience also. 4 regionals, I think he said. It's a pretty good shot. Solid 8 almost there. Solid 8 almost. That's his ball's hitting real hard. There's a lot of impact there.
And it just stood there angled for a while.
Yeah, they will do that every now and then. This is Paul needs to answer the call. Paul has to beat him these first 2 matches for Paul to continue.
That's right, and
there's a possibility to be 4 games. A lot of speed.
And again, he leaves one.
He threw that one by the break point, as we say. He got some speed and all that. Yeah.
Now the very center shot here, very easy.
Pretty good shot there. He can kind of check out his shot. That 5 pins in the middle of the lane. You can mess around with a strike ball there if you need to mess around.
And very intense crowd on this final match here.
Yeah, they'll get into it here. The hometown boys are sitting over here on the front table here. They need to get it hooped up a little bit. We need to get some crowd into this too, I think.
Fourth frame by Paul Brown. Strike.
Little off balance there. Thought maybe he might have been offline, but his ball recoiled right into the 1-3 pocket. That was a real good pocket hit. 10 pins in the pit. And
again, this match is starting up like was the last match there.
Exactly.
Alternating between spares and strikes.
It's pretty good. Another 7-pin. That one there was a high 7-pin. That was, yeah, both of these players are quite emotional players.
And Randy, again, in that 7-pin there, it may have, if it had a little bit longer, it may have fallen over, but was caught by the
rack got it, is actually the Brunswick Monster, as we call it. Little entertainment there.
But
both players are going to go around the oil there on the cross lane spare, so it might come down to a critical shot later on in the match, maybe on the left side of the spare, left-hand side of the spare.
If you've been around the lane today, you know Randy's been doing a lot of practicing there, but he did say before the tournament that if he does win here today, this is his first time on TV, that this would probably be his greatest accomplishment in bowling.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm very happy for it. It makes it another thing. It opens up our sport to other players. A little inside there. Good breakout there. Broke out the 4-6 split. The 4-6 and maybe the 7-10 with it. The dreaded big 4 was up there for a minute.
And another interesting thing about Randy here is that he hasn't really been bowling in his hardest for the past 2.5 years because he's been working late shifts and babysitting for his family.
Yeah. He has a family, a small family. Yes, he does.
So if he does get the spare there, if he does win this, that'd be nice gratification.
Exactly. Taking his time. I noticed that he's slowing down a little bit, which the player rhythm, the rhythm thing I told you about. You can get into a rhythm and get really pumped up with adrenaline, and you get the running around and jumping around and slapping your hands. You can get really pumped up, and then that could be bad in certain situations too, where you throw the ball hard and harder, and somebody needs to get excited here.
Ball.
That's got a chance. Light hit. Good carrying light hit. There you go.
Very strong
little excitement
shot
there.
Very strong shot. Very excited shot as well. Second straight strike.
She's got a long road though, so getting excited now.
And so if he keeps stringing them like he was able to do that first game here, we may just have that second match.
Yeah, I think there's a little birthday party down there to the left there, and Paul gave a little look-see over there towards the birthday party.
It's an it's a important tournament, but you kind of get the local sense of it there when you get a
ball speed.
When you get a big Masters tournament in the same bowling alley as a birthday party.
Yeah, it's you can't expect a proprietor to give up all of his business just to have 2 lanes taken up. With your cameras and that you take up 4 or 6 lanes or something like that, and you got to let the proprietor have his business throughout the weekend. A lot of times the family will bring the kids down and let them bowl while the dad might almost a chop there at 2-4-5. That's a tough one.
But he did get it.
Randy needs to feel some out here. Get him a carry spot. Get him a little bit of room to relax.
Through 4 frames, 87-79, 8-pin lead in favor of Paul.
Yep.
And but a strike there.
Could be hurry up and be a 28-pin lead here for Randy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Through 5.
Two-pin lead. It could possibly a 2-pin lead for Randy. Sorry.
Yeah. Through 5 frames, 107.99. Pretty much consistent.
It's pretty slow. And it stayed out away from the head pin. A pretty good shot. He kept it in the conditioner in the middle of the lane. There's two contrasting styles with the ball speed that they're playing. They play similar angles as they're both playing hook balls. They have a good. Both players have a good deal of generated spin on their, not spin, but it's revolutions on the ball, forward revolutions or side revolutions, and that's what makes the ball break. And it's also what gives the ball its hitting power, is its rotational force.
Randy's now strung together 2 straight strikes. Let's see if Paul can't respond here.
It's a pretty good shot there. Real good shot.
And that hand slap there, which we've been accustomed to seeing this afternoon.
But the key with getting excited like that is if you get too excited, you go over to the next lane, and the last frame he had the 2.45, which is a result of too much ball speed. So we'll see if he can keep it sort of under control for a while here.
And you've been talking about how quickly he gets to the lane here, and this time he's gotten back up there real quickly here.
He's kind of pushing the pace, but he pushed up there and got 2 strikes. So waits back on Randy. Randy taking some nice time there too, making sure his hands dried off. You get a little nervous, your hand sweats a little bit. Hard to hang on to that ball. A little bit of a double clutch there. He got it though. The ball's rolling real nice. He's had a nice break point for the last 2 weeks.
And through 6 frames, actually a 2-pin lead.
Yes.
For Randy.
Randy's made a nice comeback here. Pretty much even up. Just pin count. Oh, the ball is stuck in the back here.
And again, just a lot of intense match right now.
Yeah, this is at a point in the match now where a third of the match is now underway, and both players have doubles adding, and they're virtually within 2 pins of each other. So this really comes down. It's really going to come down to one shot. It's in the right area. Hey, got it in the oil there too.
That's 4 straight.
Yes, finding some room out there.
Now we're getting down to the last. These will be their last.
Stringing them when he finds the room too. Could be some excitement out here.
These are going to be the last 2 frames for Paul.
Remember he left the 2.45, which was over accelerated, but the last 2 frames he's hit the pocket real nicely and got some roll on the ball.
This is important here. He needs a strike to keep pace. Strong shot.
Too speedy.
And he left two important ones, a 5 and the 8.
Could have been a little bit inside of his target too. Into the further left that the guys move today, into the, let's say, the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th arrow. There's 7 arrows on the lane. Into the 3rd and 4th and 5th arrow, there's a lot of conditioner there.
There's 7 frames. He's only down by 4, but he easily picks up those 2 here. But it would be nice if you can finish out with some strikes here, because you do not know what Randy's going to do in his final frame.
Yes. Randy's going at a 2:30 pace, and Paul's going at a 2:15 pace. Paul really needs this one here. On line. Marked it hooked early there. Checked up early. He needs to fill the frames up.
3-6.
With Randy having strikes added, it could get out of control fast here. This is sort of a difficult spare. It's a multiple pin spare, and the idea is to cover the ball into both pins, but it's choppable. It looks wide. Oh, it come back. He got that one a little wide, and he got the recoil into the spare. This is a ball, what we call a fill ball. This ball here, it means the first ball and the last ball mean the least in a bowling game. And this is when you can try to find something. If you're having a difficult time, you might be able to find something on this bonus shot. Got it out a little bit more, and it rung a 10-pin.
Gets only 9 on it. Finishes with a 212.
It's a pretty solid 212 game. He converted all of his spares. That was a clean 212 game. Both players are clean, I do believe, aren't they? Yeah, clean game meaning covered all their spares and all their strikes. The game is full of spares and strikes.
Final frame for Randy Thompson.
Yeah, this here's an important ball. Real slow.
And he...
that was a nice break there. Something knocked that 6-pin over. That was, to say the least, that was a 20-pin break there, because if he doesn't get to finish out the 10th with a difficult split conversion. It's still a difficult spare, being the oil in the middle of the lane, the 7-pin. Look out. Okay.
He gets it.
He could have 228.
Which would give him about a 16-pin lead going into that second game.
Another hit-and-a-half scenario there, where pin count, first ball pin count, last ball pin count mean everything as you're going down the stretch there. That was 4 or 5 real good shots for Randy, and he just got slow with that one, and it went right in the middle of the pins. Almost a disaster with a big split. Now there he moved in, and the ball went late too, wrapped in 10 pins.
So on the fill balls, both of them get 9s.
Pretty good game by both players.
Yes.
Both solid.
And there were just a few more spares made by Paul Brown than there were by Randy Thompson.
Yes. Randy's were more grouped together. He had that 5-bagger in there, hit 5 strikes in a row, and he strung it out there pretty nice.
So it's a 15-pin lead for Randy Thompson, 227-212, the final in that first game. And so Paul's got some making up to do if he wants to send it to a second and final in the match play.
Yep, has to make up 2 frames there. It's a good shot. No, it's jumping early. That left lane is starting to break down.
And some difficulty there on the very first frame.
Yes, but if the first frame is the frame to... You might not be in such a bad way to have an open frame in the first frame versus have an open frame in the 10th. Very difficult split. That's that 4-6 combination. Anything with the 4-6.
He gets the 2, and so he starts off with 9 in this first one.
Pin count could be important right now. That left lane is really starting to go early for Paul.
So it's Randy's turns again. Some more sponsors here at the tournament: Bill Harris, the Johnson Brothers, Teals, Aiton and Minetti Insurance, and More Photography.
It's in the area there.
Randy takes advantage of the opportunity.
Randy's playing a really big swing shot, as we call it. He's letting the ball recoil. It's rotating. It's rotating on the side. His hand is rotating on the side, and it gets 10 or 12 boards right of the head pin before it makes its break up into the pin. So he has to play the recoil. It's a pretty good shot, slow. Slow, right in the middle.
That's spin. And again, 19's been having the most problems all day.
Yes, 19 is breaking down fast right now. And which player, they not only have to move for that next shot that they're on that lane, they have to move really for the next 4 or 5 shots that they're going to be playing on that lane. So whichever player can catch up with that move and beyond will come out ahead, I do believe. Very difficult spare here. Could get it here. Behind
it. 3 out of the 4. So
3, 4, 6, 7. That's
so luckily for Paul Brown, on the next frame, on that same lane, 19, Randy Thompson leaves a 9 as well.
Yes.
So an opportunity to play even.
Yeah, basically, actually, Paul just caught up a half a frame there because of his opening being in the first frame. He needs to make something happen here.
Taking his time and setting it up. Another powerful strike.
Moved inside there a little bit. Stayed down nicely with that ball. changed his tempo a little bit too, slowing down a little bit. I noticed that.
He seems very intent on what he wants to do here. And this is the one where I think that they're going to have to make the most adjustments here. They're going to
yes. The lanes are at a point where they're going to break down every 3 or 4 shots. They're going to be moving a little bit. Oh, good break there.
Good adjustment.
A lot of emotion too.
And a double handsaw up there.
Yeah.
Twice as excited.
Yeah, he knows how important that is. That Randy now needs to answer the call, so to speak. Pretty good shot. Ring in 10. Late, the ball was late going in there. Hit conditioner late in the lane and didn't get it all the way set up on its axis to get in there for the perfect pocket hit. Probably only, again, a board off at best.
And the way things are looking out, this is setting up Paul very nicely to kind of catch up and perhaps move it into that second match.
Yeah, and look, okay, good shot. And right now, Randy, he has nothing really to think about it because it's going to be hard for him to lose. He's bowled so well this week. He just needs to stay focused on what he's doing, what he's been playing already, and stay clean. Stay away from the big head pin hits, the splits.
You're exactly right.
The splits are hurting the guys today. It's revving up. Got it wide.
It was kind of awkward looking the way he got rid of it.
Yeah, I think he might have stuck or something there at the line a little bit.
But all it left was that...
wiped his shoe off. He stuck a little bit or slipped or something.
Yes.
That's in the game called was a pitch out, basically, where he was unsure of his footing and his arm just kind of flew out of the way. Good shot.
So
it's very unusual to see so many players, other than the first two of the day, Rob and Paul Blair, throw a curveball at the spare. This is big shot for Paul here. This will set up the middle part of the game. 4th, 5th, and 6th frames are important middle part of the game. Pretty good shot. Ringing 10 pin again.
And Paul is not happy about the way that one ended up.
Yep, that is probably a board off down there in the pins. One board from being perfect, and it's a little bit late. The angle was a little steep in the back, and it just wraps the 6 pin. The 3 and the 6 go together, and the 6 flies right around that 10. And, a shaver.
Barely got it there.
A new paint job on those pins, probably.
A rare mid-game smile by Paul Brown there, as he knows he got lucky on that.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. And he needs to regroup here a little bit. And
you see him taking some time here.
Yeah, he really does. He needs to regroup. Randy's looking pretty calm and cool over there. He's not really watching his opponent, which is good.
5th frame by Paul Brown. And again, another strike.
Double hand slap, too. He's getting into it.
Important thing, he's getting these on lane 19 as well, which we've been saying all day. It was the quickest to break down.
Yes, it was.
And the bowlers are having to make more adjustments on lane 19, and he's been having the most success with it all day out of all 4 bowlers we've seen.
Exactly. And the person with the least amount of ball speed will probably run into the most difficult result on lane 19. Randy's playing a slower shot. The ball's really diving in on the back end, and if the angle's off a little bit, he's going to result in a possible pocket split or a wraparound kind of carry. Another 10 pin. This is a 4 pin here, and that was a little high in the pocket. Could have been a 4-9. It was really slicing in there hard in the back.
So right now there's about a 13 pin lead here, which is all makes the match almost even at this point.
Yes, this is a game and a half into it, and they're pretty much right on the money, dead even.
Very large and diverse crowd here for a Ashland Masters bowling tournament.
Yeah.
How does the crowd compare with past years?
In our picture, there's Paul Blair's son there. Jordan, there's Jerry Boyd. He bowled in the tournament, shot 300 in the first match play game, and Tyron McKinney was right there. There's another champion in the background, Chris Ryan. Randy Thompson's wife in the background there also by the snack bar. See, another slow shot there. Looked like it got off the left side of his hand.
6-10.
He needs to feel it out. He's pushing himself a little bit. I do believe it looks. He's getting a little tense.
How difficult will this be for Randy to pick up?
This is a choppable spare. This is if he throws straight across the lane, it should be plenty easy for him. Slid by.
And he leaves one.
They slid by. Paul can take a commanding lead here. He could add 40 pins to the lead now.
Remember, he was down 15 in that first game, but
yes.
If he opens up a 40 pin lead there, that could be move us into that second match.
Oh yes, right now looking ahead. This is depending on the next couple shots here. This is looking like we're going to go into match 2. Looks good.
And another strike.
Good ball speed. He's getting into it.
4 out of his last 5 frames.
Yeah, had that ring in 10 over there.
That's the only break thus far in the action there.
He's going at a 250 pace. 258 to be exact. And Randy's at a possible 220, so the match is well in Paul's hands.
Paul's best game this match has been a 266, which he did have against Tyron McKinney.
Oh yeah, that Tyron McKinney's an exciting player too. Nice ball there. That's a 10 pin in the pit there. No sweep needed, just set up more pins.
4 in a row, 5 out of his last 6. Excuse me, 3 in a row, I'm sorry.
A little more ball speed. Still slicing in there, almost a solid 9 there. Ball's really slicing.
Through 5 frames, it was a 24 lead, but Paul's bowled 7, as now has Randy.
Yeah, Paul's reeled him back in, and Paul's now turned the tables. He has a 20-pin lead now.
Which makes it only overall 5 for a tournament.
Oh, nice, it held up. It held up there. That was a good strike too.
2 in a row.
10 to pit there.
And that's Randy's first on lane 19, and important.
That kind of, yes, it does. That is important. That keeps Paul honest. He can't open up, and if he doesn't strike and, doesn't strike anymore, Randy has the possibility to come right back and steal the match right back away. That evened it up a little bit more right there. It made it a little bit more tighter. You had that 15 pins from last game. Paul's 2 shots ahead, but if he doesn't strike here, it makes it 1 actually. Oop. Oh, big ball there. Big ball for a 4-bagger.
4th in a row, 6 out of his last 7.
Have been real nice flush pocket hits. He's getting the adrenaline.
And
big ball, he's shooting for 258. Pretty good game.
He's having a very good game.
Looks pretty focused too.
We said at the beginning this was the kind of game he needed in order to send it to the second match, and he's having what he needs to do.
Pretty stiff there. He got it in. That hurt.
And that's going to be...
he's got to get 2. 2 is important here. 2 is real important here because the way the pin carry might set up that 6 count on the strike sad nets.
Now, what are the odds?
Bad pin count there.
What are the odds on this type of split?
This is another one that's like 1 in 1,000. This is one of those multiple pin deals. You need a lucky bounce on that, or you need to hit it real thin to slide a 6 or a 4 across to pick those up. He has a possible 220 game. Randy is going at he's going at 213 pace. The game, it's dead tied. There's an answer to the call right there. This is going to come down to 1 ball.
It very may well, and that's 3 in a row for Randy Thompson there. He was struggling early in this second game.
He got a couple strikes there. That there gave him a little room. It was a slicing type of strike, so that means he's got a couple more boards to the head pin, so he's developing a little room. He's going.
Okay, this is going to be the final frame here.
First match, it's slow. It held up, though. Very good shot. Very good shot.
Right now, Paul sits at a 190 with 9 frames. And remember, since he left 8, he did not going to get any bonus balls on that. And he has to win by at least 16 in order to...
This strike here pretty much is... This is the one. That was for the title right there. That's a title shot. Just needs a good count right now. 213, Paul can shoot 220. And he has 15 pins from last game. It's pretty much a ball game right there. Hits the head pin.
Right now it's at 203.
That's your tournament champion.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't gutter it.
Yeah, keeps it on the lane. Randy Thompson, your tournament champion, hit that. He's hitting there on the splice there. That's what he's been stopping on there. Some seams of the lanes here come together. 213 for Randy. 213 for Randy. Not the greatest game in the world, but it will probably be enough. It is enough to win the championship. But Paul even the 410 there. And 410, sorry.
And unfortunately, what undid Paul was that horrendous split in that last frame.
In the 9th frame there, yes. The 9th frame, and plus Randy was striking at the same time. And that's a good player. That's good playing, though. Randy knew that he still had a shot to make it be a 2-game match, and he took advantage of it. He threw 3 strikes in the 10th.
And so, that's it.
Paul ended up with 199, and then we have yet another new champion.
Randy Thompson. After taking a couple years out of it due to personal reasons, has won an Ashland City's Masters title, his first title in a bowling tournament since '95, when he did win the Mansfield City Doubles.
Yes, this is his probably so-called Mansfield City Doubles is a handicap tournament. This is probably his first scratch tournament win. This is a non-handicap tournament, and he bowled very well.
And that's just a big win for Randy there, and Paul Brown a little disappointed there, but again, we said he had to win, almost do perfect that second game.
There's some age difference there, and you're going to see, well, 3 of those fellows right there, I'm sure, will be around the finals at any given time during the next 10 years.
The final on this one, 440, 401.
Yep, and Randy's getting a nice hug from his wife there, and his wife's got a little tear in her eye there, and that's another new champion. I don't know how many different champions there are in the 37 years. Obviously, Paul Blair's won the most with 6, but this puts another entry up there for the new winners. And he will be eligible. He won't have to qualify next year in the regular round.
The regular qualifying.
Yeah, he automatically gets seeded into the final 32 group.
And that's very nice there. A $500 first place prize, too.
Yeah, that's not bad either. That's courtesy of those sponsors that we talked about throughout the show.
Again, some of the
without those, it wouldn't happen.
Some of the ones we haven't gotten to: Pam and Bill's Market, Luray, Alma Jewelers, Denny's Restaurant, Ashland Bowling Association, Roy's Garage, BB&C, Den's Outdoor Power Equipment, Norm's Marathon, Ashland Autos, Gill's Auto Repair, Mike Wholesale Auction, King Lanes, Wes...
Dribblebus.
Yeah, Dribblebus.
Yeah.
Construction, difficult one there.
Yes.
The Dairy Bar, the Polk Hardware and Grocery, Lance George Incorporated. Stahlheibers has donated all the trophies today.
Stahlheibers, yes, they're a trophy outfit. They're out of Canton.
If you've been at the tournament all this week, some nice signs for our advertisers provided by the Heritage Press, and then food today was provided by KD Pizza.
Yes, they help out every year.
And it's a very successful tournament this year. Any final thoughts, Jim?
The final thought, I thank TV2, all the sponsors for helping out with the tournament. And this year, actually, I thank you for letting me help do the TV show, because it makes it much more enjoyable. I know the bowlers, and I've been around bowling all my life, and I can help you out, and we can all make it an enjoyable kind of experience for everybody. And
well, Jim Vanetta, 2-time Ashland Masters champion, you've done a great job with the broadcast.
Yeah, thank you.
TV2 is thankful for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But that's all we have to say. Randy Thompson goes undefeated in the match play section
no
of the
losses.
of the Ashland Masters Tournament. He is our championship. We'd like to thank you for watching TV2 coverage of the Ashland Masters Tournament.